There's a language that God speaks, and I want to think it's exclusively His language. And although it's His language, He's shown it to us and He's shared it with us, and somehow we don't see it, or we look past it, or we discount it, or we dismiss it. And that language is everywhere, and it is amazing. And I don't want to dismiss it anymore. I don't want to act like it's not there. I've been sitting on this video, I guess, for 2 weeks now, maybe 3, because I knew that I knew what I wanted and how I wanted, but I didn't know exactly the form that this was going to take or how I wanted to present it. And I'm sitting here looking out the window in my tiny house, and it's raining. It is this beautiful, amazing fall rain, and the leaves are almost off the trees, but it is just a calm, beautiful day. And when I started creating this piece of art, I was thinking there's a language that God uses, and it is perfect, and it's everywhere, and we dismiss it, and we don't necessarily see it, and maybe we don't even understand it. And I wanted to try and capture this whole process, principle, idea, whatever words you want to use. And it has been quite a challenge, which I was not expecting. I thought, oh, this is I got this. I know what this is. And the more I thought about it, and the more I talked to God about it, and the more I dug into it, I'm like, this is way more than I really had a concept of. God began speaking this language in Genesis. In the very beginning, God created. And I know I'm always talking about creativity and how we have this creativity and this gift from God, and we're co-laborers, which means we're co-creators. And that's not actually what I'm talking about, because He started this language. He began speaking to us in this language in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And then it breaks it down into exactly the steps and the process that He did to create the heavens and the earth. And there's the let there be light. And then there's separating, the day from night, and separating the land from the water. What God created and the language He was speaking is beauty. God was creating beauty. God is everything consumed. It is His nature. Beauty is His nature, and we are surrounded by His beauty all the time. That beauty is either in the creation, in the flora, the fauna, the wilderness, the trees, the animals, or it is in the creation that He works with people to create beauty. Beauty is His language. He is speaking to us all the time through beauty. God created all things to be beautiful in heaven and in earth. You, me, no matter what we think we look like, we are created to be beautiful. Psalm 96, 5-7 says, "For all the gods of the people are worthless idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Splendor and majesty are before Him. Strength and beauty are in His sanctuary." God did not create the earth to be chaos and destruction and ugly. He created the earth to be beauty, to be the extension of His sanctuary. He created this beautiful environment for us to live in. He prepared all of these marvelous works, every nook and cranny that we have discovered on the earth, and the ones we have not even discovered yet. He created all of these to show us His great love. You know what it's like when you're going to have a party, or you're going to have friends over, or you've got an event coming, and you want everything to be perfect. You want everything to be beautiful, and you set the table, and you prepare the house and clean the rooms, and then you start with your floral arrangements and your decorations and all of the things that make something special for those that you love and those that are coming to the event. That's what God did with the earth, the universe. He created every single thing meticulously just for us, just because he knew we were going to walk this earth and he was going to show us how incredibly important we are to him because of the great lengths that he went to show us beauty. The process that I'm doing in this piece in the journal is grid journaling. And I know you've seen me do this before. I've got other videos that I'll link where I have done this. And it's just this really easy and compelling way for me to start breaking things apart, compartmentalizing them, and deciding how I want something to look and how I want to understand it. And I do this, and I'll be showing you some more videos in the upcoming months, how I do this with scripture and how I do this with principles. But this specifically, I wanted to break apart this idea of beauty, and I'm just using some fall images because I wanted to think about and concentrate on the beauty that this past fall, this fall that we're in, has been all around us. And I wanted to highlight and be specific. But what I started was I just drew the squares. Well, I didn't draw them. I used the masking tape to create them. But I wanted them to be a little chaos, a little something in the background that wasn't there, because I know that's one of the places that God started when he was creating this beautiful world for us to live in. Genesis 1, 2, and 3 says, "Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness covered the surface of the watery depths, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." This is fascinating to me because he was hovering, his Spirit was hovering over his creation. He was hovering over the surface of the waters. It didn't say the waters were bad. It just said it was empty and darkness covered the surface and it was formless. And then God said, "Let there be light." The part that's fascinating to me about this is he hadn't even created the sun yet. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. The sun was not the source of the light. He created the light. And the light, I know that you know this. I know you've heard this 100 times. When you light a candle in a black room, that darkness does not overcome the candle. The candle light overcomes the darkness. And that is our first point of beauty. That is God's first beauty language. He creates the light for us to see. And that is where we begin hearing and listening to the language of God, because it is beauty. This is the beauty that surrounds us. And actually there's, every evening at night, there's a beauty in the darkness, but that darkness is the beauty illuminated by the stars or the moon or the street lights. It is an incredible, enrapturing beauty because there is this beautiful play between light and dark. The backgrounds that I've created in this grid journaling process have just been smushes, as you have seen, of watercolor. That's it. Nothing fancy, just choosing colors and putting it in the background. And honestly, I didn't even know what images were going to go in what squares and rectangles, and I hadn't really thought completely through of what I was even going to do at that point. But I knew that there was something in taking these things apart and looking at and creating individually so I could see the beauty, the language of God that would be beauty that surrounds us. And as I kept working through this and kept going with it, I began to see on the page, in these grid squares, there were subtle hints of this is an image that goes here, and this is an image that goes there, and there's kind of a leaf pattern, or there's kind of a pumpkin pattern, or there's kind of the fall floral pattern that might show up. And it was subtle, and it was a hint. And it was just the way the watercolor would lay within the grid, which is what I had to think about the other day. I'm sure you, if you've been on my channel very much, thank you for that. And you may have picked up that I live close to Branson, Missouri. And I was actually going to Branson the other day. There was road work, and there's never road work. It's a 4-lane highway from where I live to Branson, and there's very little traffic, and there's never road work. And this time there was road work. And I had all of these things on my mind I had to do. I've got a new coffee shop carrying my coloring books. I needed to get over there and check my stock and see if they needed replacement. Then there was another one that I just picked up that's carrying my books in Branson, and I need to go talk to them. And my mind was just on, I need to go and I need to get there. And there was traffic. And I mean, it was at a full stop, which never happens on the way to Branson. They were doing work on one of the lights, and it was backed up. And I mean, it was really backed up. And I'm like, okay, I have things to do. I need to get there. And all of a sudden, the language of God, he said, girl, slow down. Look around. You're missing the beauty that I'm speaking to you right now because you're in such a hurry to get on with the day. And I knew the things that I was getting on with were things he's given me to do. And I'm excited and happy and celebrating I get to do them. And he said, in the midst of doing them, realize the beauty is right there. It's around you. And I stopped and I looked out the windows to see with intention. Instead of things flying by me as I'm doing 65 miles an hour down the road, he took me to a full stop and said, look at the beauty. Listen to the whispers of your heart that I'm telling you, because this is the only day that has ever been created that is this day, and you'll never have it again. So take it in. And I sat there as I was inching ever so slowly forward in the traffic, and the colors were magnificent. And the shading under the trees, the way the light was hitting the undergrowth, the way the hills were laying out in front of me, it was breathtaking. And that was when I began to realize this is the language of God. And it is everywhere. And if I don't stop with intention and purpose, then I'm not going to see it, and I'm not going to hear him. We are quickly approaching the most wonderful time of the year, holidays coming, and we're going to be putting the lights outside of our homes, putting up the Christmas tree, celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating the New Year, finding the perfect dress and the perfect shoes, finding all the things that we feather our nests with and create a beautiful atmosphere for our family and friends for the holidays. And as we go through this and as we come up to it, my encouragement to you is not necessarily you gotta slow down, you have to do this. My encouragement is more, listen to the language that God speaks. Listen to the language of beauty that he's using. He created all of the languages all over the world. It's not like they just, came out of something else. God created them. And yet, his language, and we know he has a language of love, but part of that language of love is beauty. Absolute, extravagant, undeniable, fabulous beauty. I don't even have words to describe the beauty. Some of the beauty that I have seen has been in Maine. Some of the beauty I've seen has been in Guam. There have been things that are breathtaking that I have seen in Mississippi and North Carolina and South Carolina. And all of these things, everything we behold and everything we hear Beauty comes through the music. It comes through the written word. It comes through the visible things that we see. It comes through the things that we cook, the food that we share. All of these things are creative, and that creativity is how we co-labor with Christ to create beauty, because God's language is beauty. It's one of the ways and one of the things he uses to remind us and reassure us. He is the provider. He is the one. He is the lover of our soul. He has given us everything for life and godliness, beauty. And when we create, when we share that beauty, when we don't do it from a sense of, I have to do this because I have to make money, or I have to do this because it's expected, or I need to make these Christmas cards so they'll look good so people will think I'm great. Not that we would ever do that, but it can creep in. I know it can. I've been there. And this is where we remember that everything that God created, he placed in us. And it is the overflow and the abundance of his love and joy that creates the beauty. And I will be the first to tell you, and I will stomp my feet on this every day of the week and twice on Sunday. God's beauty is greater than the ugliness of the world. And we get to show and shine his beauty by the things that we create, the things we make, the things we say, the music we share. And at the same time, we get to look into nature, and we get to look at other people's creations and say, yes, this is God speaking to me. This is God sharing his beauty, his heart, his life with us. And this is how Scripture says in Psalm 19:1. In the Christian Standard Bible, it says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the expanse proclaims the work of his hands. And the word work is mahaseh in the Hebrew. And that word means the creation, the thing he accomplished, the thing he did. And it literally means he created this. So the heavens are saying, look what God did. And the expanse says, this is the work of his hands. And the work of his hands is beauty. The work of his hands is perfect. The work of his hands is you and me. So as we go forward into our holiday time, into the celebration of Christmas, my encouragement again is that we slow down, not like you need to slow down, but that we have this intentionality, not just to cook the food and wrap the presents and write the cards and go to the Christmas Eve service, but to stop intentionally, maybe even set a timer on your phone that at a certain time every day you're just going to stop and look around. Because if we stop and look around with intentionality, we see and hear the language of God, which is beauty.